you? How's it going? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to $3 Theater, and today we're going to be talking about a weird controversy. Okay, this is how it begins. This is where it's going. If you are a Star Wars fan and you have been on the internet for the last couple of years, you know it's been rocky, especially on YouTube. Lots of people, myself included, made a lot of money trashing The Last Jedi. But guess what? The Last Jedi, 3 years ago. Time to move on. It's been a year post The Rise of Skywalker, right? Love it or hate it. Guess what, folks? It's time to move on. The sequel trilogy, it's done. It's in the past, kind of. But people still aren't happy, even though we're currently in the age of The Mandalorian. A lot of people are freaking out, losing their mind, if you will, because of a reveal in Chapter 12, The Siege. Now, I'm going to talk about that reveal. So spoilers if you haven't seen it. But this is what we saw coming into one of the shots. They showed us a tank with some kind of body, some kind of humanoid-looking body, which everyone pretty much figured out what it was right off the bat. It's an early clone of Snoke. Never mind the fact that his own theme song played during that scene, further solidifying that it was in fact Snoke that they saw in that chamber, that this is part of the origin of the First Order. That is why they needed the child's blood in order to synthesize, to create, to clone a being with a high enough M count, that would be midichlorians, in order to be able to facilitate the essence of the Emperor who survived what happened 5 years prior. That's kind of cool in my opinion. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of bringing back Snoke in that particular, or bringing back, the Palpatine in that particular fashion, but at the same time, I like synergy. I like one cohesive narrative. But a lot of people losing their mind. I see a lot of people on Twitter running rampant. Oh my God, The Mandalorian is tying into the sequel trilogy. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's disgusting. All because they don't like the sequel trilogy. But then again, a lot of people have never taken the time to, I think, really try to appreciate the fact that under Disney Star Wars, we've gotten a lot of cool stuff. And they just want to keep going back to the sequel trilogy. But as I keep saying, Disney is realizing their mistakes. And this isn't anything new, by the way. All right, this connection between The Mandalorian and episodes 7, 8, and 9, the sequel trilogy, is not anything that is new. There were talks a year ago, before the release of the first season of The Mandalorian, about what we were going to get in regards to the First Order in the show. Jon Favreau talked about it. I was able to pull this. He reiterated it again from when was it? I think like April this year. Jon Favreau teases The Mandalorian will explore the origins of the First Order, saying here, what could happen in the 30 years between celebrating the defeat of the Empire and then the First Order? You come in on Star Wars Episode 7, the First Order, not just starting out, they're pretty far along. So somehow things weren't necessarily managed as well as they could have been if the galaxy ended up in hot water like that. And Dave Filoni chimes in. He says, this doesn't turn into a good guy universe because you blew up 2 Death Stars. You get that the rebels won, that they're trying to establish a republic, but there's no way that they could have said it for everybody all at once. You have a Western where you're out on the frontier and there might be Washington and they might have some marshals, but sometimes good luck finding one. And again, this is the whole point. We've been seeing this with the X-Wing cops, right? The X-Wing pilots that are now kind of running an investigation about, like, you can see what's happening. You know something's going on out here with the Empire. You know it's not done yet. They're just now getting the idea of what's happening, but they don't know all the pieces yet. And we as the audience are right there along with them, also still figuring out just what the hell is going on. And this is, again, if you have not read the Aftermath books or any of the other comics, anything that is tied in with what happened between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, this is where you're going to start getting caught up. And the people that are so fundamentally, vehemently opposed to this are people who quite literally, they're knuckle dragging morons. And I'm tired of being nice, because when it comes to what they're trying to do, and this being Lucasfilm and Disney, it's called synergy, folks. It's called synergy. They do this because they are trying to tie together multiple properties into one cohesive, coherent storyline. They know that Marvel has proven track record with that, so they want to continue it. Star Wars has a relatively decent Legends storyline that's, it goes a couple different directions, but a lot of people kind of view it as at least some form of narrative path. There's a bunch of those books that follow a narrative path. And Disney, when they decided to end the EU and make it the Legends and bring in their new canon, they were going for a timeline. Sure, it's differentiated here and there. It's not always the most succinct as it could be, but it's still cool enough to see what they've done in the books be played out in The Mandalorian, which goes to show you that they're opening up the world of Star Wars. We are going to see the origin of the First Order. We're going to see what they have been planning. This is why they want the child. This is why they want a Jedi. They need somebody in order to be able to house a clone of the Emperor. And this is going to take him a long time to do, as we see in the end of Rise of Skywalker. He's still not all the way there yet. Needing his, I guess you could say, biological granddaughter, although it's a weird thing. I'm still not necessarily the biggest fan of that. I'm not. But I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to stop watching the show, because now you got my attention. I already kind of figured this whole thing was coming. If you pay attention to the show, they don't just lay it out for you, but they leave little breadcrumbs here and there. And if you are actually a Star Wars fan and not just a fair weather knuckle dragger on the internet that only barks and claps and laughs when somebody tells you it's okay, otherwise you have to clutch your pearls and head for your fainting couch, you know what's coming. If you pay attention to Star Wars, you know what's coming. But a lot of these people don't pay attention to Star Wars because they know for a fact that if they did, it would probably make them sound pretty stupid. And so when I talk about here, it begins, what we're seeing now is that angle, that hook, that these liars, these war profiteers, that's what they are, these carpetbaggers, so I think the better way for it, are now going to be able to use as a way to start attacking this show. Well, they tied it into the sequel trilogy. Those heathens. Really? They're tying it into movies that have grossed an absolute dickload of money? They're finding a way to bring it all together while also expanding upon the pre-written narrative created by animated television shows? That they're expanding outward with these characters in a way that's going to be a lot of fun for fans? That Kathleen Kennedy is maybe not as involved as you all want, you all think she probably is? Do you not understand how ridiculously stupid you sound when you get mad at this? Do you even know why you're upset? Do you even have any fundamental idea as to why you're raging? Is it the only way your pee-pee gets hard? Is it the only way you feel like you've got some control in your life is to be mad at a space western that's actually doing pretty much everything you wanted it to do, but because they've tied it in through just a little element of story that is still 25 years away from where we find ourselves in this particular show, you're going to stop watching? Like, do you not understand how much of a baby you sound? Like, Baby Yoda is more mature than you. That's the thing. That's the reality of the situation. You are looking for something to justify your hate boner. And so this is going to be what does it. I hate to break it to you. No matter how many masked idiots out there tell you that the show is not doing well, it's literally breaking records. It is literally the most popular thing on TV right now. The merchandise is literally flying off shelves. I've seen more Baby Yoda car decals and people wearing the t-shirts and people buying the merch than ever before. People are loving the show. They're loving the tie-in to the Clone Wars. They're loving the tie-in to Rebels. They can't wait to see episode number 5, The Jedi, chapter 13, directed by Dave Filoni, which should tie in Ahsoka Tano, which is a darling of the fandom menace. This is where you're going to find yourselves in an unwinnable situation. Because as the vast majority of people like this thing, they love this thing, they cherish this thing, you are not going to have an upper hand to cause chaos and division. And if you think that targeting a clone of Snoke is going to be the thing that does it, you're wrong. Because all it's doing now is laying the breadcrumbs for what happens 25 years in the future. And if you think that this show is going to go that long, well, that'd be awesome, but I doubt it. I just find it funny how utterly pathetic so many of you have become, that you have to find something to hate in order to justify anything. You guys must be real fun at parties. So here's the deal. Mandalorian is the best thing on TV right now. That's an undeniable fact. It is giving us old Star Wars mixed with new Star Wars, taking us on different adventures and showing us things in live action that we haven't seen before. It's expanding upon the universe that Dave Filoni and George Lucas created. Jon Favreau is a fantastic showrunner and a fantastic hand to guide it. Kathleen Kennedy is a producer and the head of the company. She has no direct involvement that we can tell, which is exactly what a lot of you people want. But because some people out there need to create controversy as the only way to justify their online existence, need to play up the culture war as the only way to justify their online existence, a lot of you are going to believe them because you have been trained to believe them, because you have been lied to so often that you believe them. And that's a reality. That is an absolute, fundamental, undeniable reality. A lie is just a fact that hasn't been repeated enough yet. It's a great line from the new Animaniacs because it's true. When people out there who monetize hatred, monetize anger, monetize division, keep you in the dark, keep you ignorant, ill-informed, and just angry, are not actually selling you information you can use. But if that is the world you want to live in, then that is the world you want to live in. And that's fine with me, because I will not live there with you. And if you come to my doorstep with any of that nonsense, I'm going to knock you down. I am no longer in the mood to play nice. I am no longer going to play nice. And that is the reality of it. People want to enjoy this. You just want to hate it because you literally have nothing else in your life of value. Being mad at the show for showcasing something that happened 25 years down the road in regards to the timeline is sad, weaselly, and pathetic. Absolutely, abhorrently pathetic. Baby dick energy is what that is. If you don't like it, don't watch it. But you can't stop yourself. You need to feel something. Instead of feeling joy over what you claim to love, you cast doubt, subversion, anger, hatred. What does that sound like? To me, that sounds like the dark side. To me, that sounds like you guys are the dark side. Funny. Right? A little bit. Something to think about. A little food for thought there. In the meantime, I'm going to go rewatch last week's episode. I'm going to freaking love it again. Can't wait for this week's episode. And if you want to step to my doorstep and fight over this subject matter, just be warned, I will not be kind. Not one bit. And I recommend other people do the same. Absolutely. 100%. If you love The Mandalorian, do not let people who are fake fans knuckle drag you down to their level. Just beat them with facts. Because that's the one thing they don't have. And they know it. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys all later. Have yourself a great day. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like the video if you do. If not, you can dislike it and fuck right off. All right, guys, I'll see you later.